Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for why does it say set reminder? I should just be live. Can you guys hear me okay? My playback thing's being a little weird. All right, there it goes. I think YouTube ever since they did this update to their live stream and stuff, it's been a little wonky. So we are back once again. Before we get started, after I check my text messages with got people backing out of events. Before we get started, let's go ahead and do a quick shout out to me. If you guys didn't know, I just released my latest course, the 100 Front-End Interview Questions Challenge, to help you ace those technical screens. Cover all the major things: JavaScript, HTML, CSS, asynchronous JavaScript, some general debugging type questions that you're going to need to know. You know, what's the difference between what's recursion and get version control, component-based architecture, all that sort of stuff that you would be expected, as well as some tips and tricks to help you, you know, how to negotiate salary expectation question. So, do you have any questions for me? And then some interview prep and like resume and cover letter and how to search for jobs properly and all that sort of stuff. And altogether, we have a total of 30 years of experience putting this course together. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. So let's go jump right back into the application. So I did a little bit of stuff while I was in between live streams. One, I worked on the design of the subcategory page and of the detail page. Two, I added this nice transition for when you open and close the menu. Now I just broke it because it's not a HTML or CSS. Well, I'm not running the application either, so let's go ahead and launch that. You're watching my tutorial on Scrimba right now? Nice. So as always, we want to go ahead and launch our test suite. Make sure nothing's breaking as we are continuing to build and reiterate. I did a little bit of CSS stuff. So we're going to start like we always have with our Trello board. So there's a couple things that are in progress. The modal, which I need to go back and finish. But I just haven't really wanted to build the modal. I started it. I should have started before I got the mock. But what I want to do now is dynamically update the title based off of what the route is. Now, this is going to be pretty cool. What we're going to do I came across a great blog that had to do with what it was that I wanted to do. My dad's calling me. It's like, dude, my dad's called me like twice in my life. Not that he's like an absentee father or anything like that, but he's not one to call. So it makes me wonder what's going on, Pops. But yeah, so let's go ahead and continue on. So we have our Trello board. We're going to do the dynamically update title, and I also wanted to add a hover effect to the navigation to match what we would expect this to be. So I also added some real data here so you could see exactly what, like, oh, here's some recommended books for the JavaScript section. And then you can see as we click on it, this nice transition, as well as a container so that this doesn't forever get to expand. All right, one second. My dad's calling me again. All right, so he wasn't there. But yeah, so eventually what we're going to do is we're going to fix these buttons so that they don't have a set size and they go ahead and scale. I don't remember why we did that, to be honest. I think we were having trouble doing it. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick before we move forward. So we're going to go to views. If he calls me a third time, I know somebody died. No, so we have this topic.css. We have a height. We have padding, we have a min width, we have a max width. Let's start here. Let's see what happens when we gut that. Okay, so there is that. Now, why is it that our stuff, is it because they're anchor tags? Oh, I see. I think I see what's going on. Why it's not taking up enough. So you see we have each one of these app topics. And I bet if we did this. No? Is it because of the div? Maybe if we go into the div, because that's where the div has all this, and then we get rid of the padding, a little bit of CSS debugging. So we say width 100%, background dash color green. I don't know. There's definitely something wrong with my CSS, so we'll have to come back to that and fix it. I'll fix that off. Let's do cool stuff and interesting stuff. Let's not debug little things like that. Let's start with the title service. So, go ahead and throw this up. Back at it again. Can you also make a video on React? Probably not. I'm just not a fan of React. Angular's where it's at for me. I'm just enjoying Angular, man. Alright, one last thing. God damn it. Why don't... It must be my options thing. It's really bothering me, as you can tell. Alright, I'm gonna play around with this later. Otherwise, I'm gonna go down this CSS rabbit hole and not get anything done. But basically, I just want them to, have this spacing and be all the way across. But we'll come back to it. Cool. What I want to do is the title service, and what we want to happen is that in our app component, we're going to do it on the app level because we want the title to change whenever we're on the app. We're going to write some logic for when we're going to write some logic for when the route changes so that we can update the title. So we're going to need two things for that. One, we're going to need the router. And did I create a abstract router? I might not have. Let's just show private router of type router. And then here, we'll go ahead and do a private. There's actually something called title. So we'll call this title service of type title. This is built into Angular. So we've now gone ahead and created our thing, and so now you'll see that our app component's blowing up. So we'll just go to our app component.spec real quick. We'll throw some nulls in here. And we're eventually going to have to write some additional things. Cool. All right. What we want to do is in our ng on a init, we want to subscribe to the router events to see what happens. So let's go ahead and do public on init void. Say this dot router dot events, which is an event stream for routing events in the ng model, meaning when our router changes, when our router detects a file path has changed, we want to do something with it. And then we want to... it's not going to let me filter. Oh, I think we want to subscribe to those events. filter. This is a an RxJS. Do we not have filter anymore? What is filter? Sorry, I found a great item that essentially does exactly what I want it to do. Dot subscribe dot to pipe dot to promise. We can just subscribe. Then we have the data here, and then we can do something like this. So let's see what this looks like if we set this up properly. Let's go into here. That doesn't look proper. Okay. So you see we have this navigation end, and you can see that we have a URL and a URL after it redirects, all this sort of stuff. So what we want to do is just simply check if navigation end. That way we don't have to worry about it, but we can actually do something a little bit simpler. Filter RxJS. Filter from RxJS/operators. And so I believe what we have to do is now we have to pipe it. Oops. Let's look at the example here. So we pipe the filter, okay. And then in here we're going to take in an event. It could be any event. And then what we're going to do is filter if the event, let's do this. We need one more on here. Got our brackets a little confused. So filter any event. We want to return if event is an instance of navigation end. Cool. And based off of that, we need to then, you can see how this gets, you see how RxJS complicates everything. It's very powerful, but it complicates the shit out of everything. We then want to map this dot router to get our values, and now we have to get the map. Oh my god, let me see. Example. Actually, am I missing something here? There we go. I was missing a bracket. My bad. I was like, that looked like it should work. Okay, so what's happening here is we're listening to every router event change, and if it's a instance of navigation end, we are going to get that value on here. So let's jump back over here, and wham, bam. So we only get that one event now. We don't have to do any additional sort of crazy logic. And what you can see is if we go to the same path, which is not going to change because we're using Angular router, but if we go and we now like go to the home page, bam. Or if we go to the JavaScript page, bam. So now what we can do is simply use the title service to update our title to look like whatever we want based off the route. Now, you can see right now it's video docs. Let's go ahead and write something for using the title service that's going to do something by default. So in title service, I think we're going to go ahead and say this dot title service dot set title. And by default, when we're on the home page, what we want it to be is something like actually, how does this, I want, just real quick, I don't know if I refresh, if I will actually get something. So let's say I'm on the home page. Cool. Let's clear it out. What happens when I refresh? It does get it. Okay. Excellent. So let's go ahead and write a private method. Not private method, but it will update title. And in here, we're going to pass in the data that is of type navigation end. And then we're going to have, what do we call this? We'll just call it navigation. Pass that in there. And right here, we'll call it navigation end of type navigation end. Cool. Now what we want to do here, simply do something like this. This dot update title, navigation end. All right, cool. So here we have this. All right. So how I want my title to look, if it's a home page, is I just want it to be something like, I don't know. Let's see. What does MDN look like? So like, all right, I'll do it something like this. So if navigation end dot URL is equal to a forward slash like that, we're gonna do something. I don't know what it is we're gonna do yet, but let's see. So like, I think that's what it was. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and say this dot title service dot set title is equal to what do we want it to be equal to? Video dev docs VDD. All right, so if we did this right on the home page, what we're gonna see is bam. Now it's not gonna change because we haven't set anything for category, but you can see that it updated our title, right? Now what we want to do now is have it change to if it's on a category page, and see what happens next. Now, you'll see there's a couple of ways that we can go about making this a little bit more complex or a little bit simple. Now, the easiest thing to do, first off, let's console log this so I can keep track of this object. Now, the reason we're going to have a sort of if statement on this, and this could honestly be a switch statement, is, and we're probably going to refactor this now I thought about it a little bit more. Hey VK, what's going on? So you can see we have this URL after redirects, URL, so we have this right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this. All right, yeah, let's do this. So const URL, Scott would be URL pieces. God, that's a bad name. This will be a string array. It's going to be equal to navigation and dot split, and we want to split it on a forward slash navigation and dot URL. Hey Dylan, I really enjoyed your 100 front-end interview question course. Very helpful. I'm glad, man. That's one of my favorite courses I think I've ever made, to be honest with you, and it was a lot of fun. So now that we've done that, let's just console log URL pieces. And oh, there's two. Ugh. All right, we're gonna do this. I don't and then we'll filter out any values, which is return piece. Get rid of the turn. So we want to filter out anything that is piece dot length greater than 0. Alright, so now we should get on a home page only the pieces. Cool. So if URL pieces dot length is equal to 0, do this. We're gonna go ahead and set that. This looks a little bit cleaner to me. Alright, now what we want to do is if we have a category, if it's only 2 deep and it's category in JavaScript, what we want to do is take that second piece. So I think we're going to make this a switch case. Switch on URL pieces dot length. Because that's really what's going to happen here down the road anyhow. So if the case is 0, meaning nothing, we can go ahead and do this. Actually, that should probably just be the default, huh? Like if we're doing it this way, we should just have a default like so, and it always sets it to that. And all we really care about setting, and that way if we have any like pages that don't exist, that should be it. Alright, so if the case is 1, no, we don't care about 1. If the case is 2, what do we want it to do? Well, we want to say this dot title service dot set title, and in here add some backticks, and then we'll do something. I put in my where's my Trello board? Trello board, where are you, pimpin'? All right, so I put in Trello board how I wanted it to look. All right, so the detail, then the main category, but we're not there yet, so we can do this. Private set subcategory title. And we're going to pass in URL pieces. That'll be a string array. Anytime I start dealing with, anytime I deal with switch statements like this, I typically almost always want to make sure that I break these out into private little methods to throw in here. Makes it a little bit more readable. It's a little easier to follow. But yeah, what's going on, Kronzy? So here we're gonna call this right here. This might change down the road too. Ugh. Cool. So URL piece 1 is going to be category. URL piece 2 is going to be the actual title. So const category. Actually, const subject. Oh. Yeah, we don't want to do this. We're gonna do it this way. Const subject is equal to No, we're on category. Const category. So here's the the naming thing. The very first word's category. The second thing is JavaScript. So what do you call it? Because it's kind of misleading to call it category, even though it is the category. Do you mind showing me your service file for what? This is our title service. This is an Angular thing. We're just utilizing it. So you can see here that we're most of our service logic for this is happening. So we're subscribing to the event router methods. We're then piping, which is RxJS method that basically just says, hey, let us do some RxJS stuff. And then we're filtering. Would work similar to how you would think filter and arrays would work. And we're saying return only events of navigation end, which is when a navigation is fully completed. Subscribe to that change. Then filter some values out of it based on the split. And then we're going to update some stuff. So in our case here, we are going to have a category, which is going to be... All right, this is what I'm going to call it. Actual category. Oh, my goodness. Is equal to URL pieces 1. And what we're going to do here is pass in actual category. And then we're going to do VDD for video dep docs. So if I did this right, on our category pages, you can see, okay, here it updates on title, here it goes here, but that doesn't look really good. Now, what may have to happen is we may have to create a slight little title enum. So like that's going to be the key, right? And I don't necessarily want to store strings that, like I don't know, maybe I can do something like this. Like you can see, it's going to lowercase it every time. So what we might have to do to make it look nice and pretty just specifically for JavaScript is like this is fine. We want to capitalize that first letter. So we do something like actual category 0 is equals to actual category dot to, but the issue that we're going to have here in a second is that we don't have that S capitalized as you would expect. Dot to upper case. Where'd the sound go? Can't hear me? It's going. I see it in there. So you'll see in a second that we don't, obviously we can't. Really not? I've done this before. Anyhow, the way that we're going to solve how it should be styled is we're simply going to create a enum or an object here in our app component. We're going to have, not using Lodash, not in a million years. Not in a million years. Someone told me they used Lodash in our application. I'd ask for them to not be on my team. Create a models folder. Then we'll create a new folder called data. Then in here we'll create a new file called title.enum.ts. Export. No, it's not going to be enum. It's going to be a object in this case. It's just going to be a const. We're going to treat it somewhat as an enum title.ts. I don't know what to call it. So we're going to export. This is actually formatted title. Formatted titles to be an object. And in here, we're going to have JavaScript, all lowercase, and this is going to return back what we want here of JavaScript. Other ones that aren't JavaScript will be easier to deal with. The reason we have to do JavaScript is because of this very specific S, like HTML, CSS, It doesn't matter. But that very specific S in JavaScript is really gonna to jack us up. So what we can do, and this may come in handy later, is now that we've done that, we can say if actual category is equal to JavaScript, we will go ahead and so do an actual category like this. We will do formatted. Let's actually rename this. So we'll just do this. So we'll do actual. 1 second. Let's just get this working before we get any more complicated. Cool. So I think this should be undefined. Undefined. All right, so that's working. Oh, you know what? I know why. If it's saying class, I meant to do const. And there you go. You can see we have a nicely formatted title for JavaScript. Now, if it's not JavaScript, and it's like HTML or CSS, which right now the only routes we have are 2 here, what we're going to do is simply return. So first thing we're going to do is we want to uppercase the very first letter only. It didn't like me modifying it directly. I suppose I could do something like this. So, const or let title equal backticks in here. Then we would do actual category 0 dot to uppercase, and then we would do the same thing here, where it would be excuse me, just actual category. Oh no, actual category dot slice. We're gonna slice from 1, and I believe, God, sometimes you don't use these methods forever. So if we have CSS dot slice, and we slice from 1, I believe it'll do the whole length, right? Yeah. All right, cool. So that's gonna be title. Else, with a space, of course, and then BDD, and then else title equals this. close that, and this dot title service dot set title, and then we pass the title. All right. Whew. What a bunch of silliness to get some nice titles going on, but we did it. So it works there. These, I don't know, are gonna fire off. Yeah. Oh, it did work. Oh, that looks kind of silly, doesn't it? I think we should capitalize the CSS, don't we? And HTML. Oh my God, are we gonna have a custom title for everything? Right now, this is fine. We can do this. It looks kind of silly having that one capital C and no capital SS, right? So. I can get down with that. That ain't too bad. All right. So this is if we're on the category page, because right now we only have mock data for JavaScript, so which is why it's blown up. But we now have the thing in place to set it to make sure that everything is going to work accordingly, like at least for these categories. Now, once we have routes that have more than two routes or match two routes, we're gonna have to do some additional logic. But here you can see that we're almost there. So cool. Now what we have to do is simply we have to write some tests. This is gonna be a pain. All right. Did I create a mock router? I thought for sure I created. Oh, I created a mock activated route. All right. All right. So we have our mock title service here. We need to do it before each. Your tests get easier as you go on because you continue to build these things out, right? So like mock router, mock title service. So right here. We don't want to pass null, right? We want to do, let's go ahead and generate a mock router. And our mock router is going to need to some observable of event, so we'll have a public router observable equals new. We'll just do new subject. That'll be fine. And then here, on here, when we call events, we'll just make that a get, public get events, and we will return this dot router subject events. All right, and this will return subject of any. All right, let's go back here. Mock router equals new mock router. Component first thing is mock router. All right. Next thing is that we need to create is a title service. So mock title. Yeah. Don't worry about the digital marketing stuff, man. Alright, so what does title do? Right now, all we're really using it for is to set a title. So public last title. This will be a string. Well, go ahead and initialize it to an empty string. And then we'll say public set title. This takes in a value. And all we really want it to do, which will be a string, all we really want it to do is set this dot last title equal to value, and then we'll know exactly which value we passed in here, and we can do it. How does RxJS subject work? It's basically an observable. It's something you subscribe to. So like, I'll show you a basic example real quick. So it's an open data stream. You know how in promises you so in promises, one second, let me just fix this test. In promises, it fires off an async event and it sends a response and you're done. That's how promises work, right? So now when you're dealing with Young Buddha, just send me an email at dylansemail310@gmail.com. Alright, so here we have mock title surface, pass this in. Okay, so your subjects essentially are open data streams that you subscribe to. So if you look in our wait a second. Where is my alert service? Oh, did I just subscribe in here? So like, okay, here's a good example. So our alert service, we have this asynchronous subject. A subject you can just think of as an open data stream that, in this case, we're converting it to an observable so that you can push data to it continuously and it's open. So when I set it up this way, in this specific instance, the reason I set this subject up is that as long as we're treating our service as a singleton, what that means is that when we push to the same subject, this subscription is going to pick it up, whether that's from a server or whether that's from a our application. In this case, our application, and then it's going to do whatever logic that we have in here. In this case, it's going to call the alert again. So that's really the main difference between like a promise and a subject, is that they both sort of do asynchronous tasks, but you're subscribing to a lot of you have an open data subscription. So in here, if we ever planned on this alert going away, you would typically, one way that you lose memory is you have all these open subscriptions. And you haven't closed them. Okay, so your mock service, let's see here, components, mock title service, mock router, app component of the TS. All right, so let's go ahead and write some tests for this real quick. Now, we got our component. Everything's building just fine. All right. So, I just did some of this for our alert service, so maybe I should pull that up. Just in case I need to reference this. All right. No, I didn't need it, I guess. All right, so what we really care about is that we're going to update our title. I guess technically we could we care that it filters out navigation ends, but it's not going to break. I guess it might break, actually. Shit. Only pushes through navigation end events. Alright. Yeah, it's going to break even. So. Yeah, young Buddha, just hang out till after the stream. I'll take a look, man. All right. And let's see here. So all we're gonna say is, all we're basically gonna make sure for this one, this kind of bootleg, is that when we call ng on a init, let's just even see if that's gonna work. It might blow up right now. Now when this component initialized, we want to assert that our mock title service dot last path is in fact, or did I call it last title? Last title has not been changed. Alright, so it's not blowing up because that's kind of a shitty test, to be honest with you. Let's try a little bit better. So now we're gonna make sure that when we pass a correct event, so what we need to do is now in our range, we can do, and you know what, let's make this a slightly better test. Assert mock title service dot last title is equal to an empty string. Okay. So now we need to when URL navigates, so on URL navigation and update to video update title default. Now the reason I don't necessarily want to put this title service and be too specific is because this might actually change in here, but we'll have a more specific one. So how do we want to do this? So on init, oh, I know what we want to do. Okay, so we want to take our, so we don't have our mock router dot router subject dot next. In here we want to pass in a URL that has an empty path. If we do that, and I understand everything correctly, we should get something like this. All right. So let's see where we're getting. So, oh, shit, how do we trigger the, let's say as navigation and let's do this real quick. Put that on there. Console.log. I'm just gonna run the one test, see what happens here. Yeah, we never hit that. Alright, so let's actually I don't think even if we cast it, it's not gonna listen to us. So what was the I think I might have to actually just put in the full object. Alright, so we add an ID. There we go. I might go ahead and do this testing off stream and move on to something else. It's just a matter of playing around with RxJS and get it to work. Let me try one more thing. Events returns what observable. I think that might be part of our issue. So let's see what happens here. All right. Excuse me. I leave that there, come back here, come back here. instead of doing this, it's mock router dot router event. Can I read property pipe of undefined? Come on, man. Cannot read property pipe of undefined. We're almost there. I'll spend 5 more minutes and I'm gonna move on to something else. I feel like we're close though. So this should bring the next thing. Alright, so app component is actually, events is a observable, so I think that's where I made my mistake in my setup. Like 2. This drives me nuts. Absolutely nuts. Oh, man. All right. Throwing in the towel. But we got to work. I'll have to figure this out after the fact. Write some logic for it. We're close. We're just not quite there yet. I have no idea why not. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Did that shitty test break? I don't care about the shitty test. No. Alright. Alright, I'll come back to testing this. But yeah, so we updated our title. Dynamically updated title. That was in progress. We're going to have to continue to work on that. I'm going to leave that in progress. Alright, let's go ahead and make a commit. Cool. That wasn't too bad. Minus the fact we can get the test to work. Alright, so next, what we want to do for the app. I really wish I had my new mockups for stuff, so we could work on that. But we're not quite near that. I have a very small ticket to add a hover effect to the navigation menu, so let's look at that. I just want the same hover effect. Oh, npm run, npm start. I just want the same hover effect that I would expect. When I change the menu, so that's all. So you see like how we change here, and we change here, but we select one of these categories. I just wanted to have that hover effect, so nothing too crazy. Alright, cool. So let's go to our side nav. Go to our side nav.scss. And active route. So if we hover over, let's try this. No. Is the selector not specific enough? Yeah, that's what the issue is. I'm not going to do it that way though. And .fa dash HTML5. Alright, cool. So alright, and last but not least, on our active route. Let's color blue. Copy that's going on the LI. And colon hover. Alright, cool. So that was a little quick one. If we wanted to get real fancy, we could transition it, I suppose. So like we could do transition. What are we transitioning on? Background dash color. Give it over 3 seconds. That's gonna be way too slow if that works. But yeah, so we could do like 0.3 seconds. Yeah, that looks a little more natural, right? Same thing with this. Transition's a very powerful tool, man. It really makes your sites pop a little bit more with very little effort. Cool. Let's see how that actually looks over here. Alright. Cool. Commit this real quick. Alright, I don't even know if I want to build that scroll to top component. So I had this idea. It was in one of my other applications that I built in the past, and the people really liked it. But essentially, where if you were like half the page down here, there was a button, a floating button that would come up and take you to the top. I don't really know if I like that. Ooh, that's one thing I want to update. So let's go to our main style sheet. Which is going to be in styles. And I wanted to do, God, what was that? Border dash, scroll behavior smooth. Cool. Alright, and we're on here. Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that on there. I can have it on there. Yeah, I don't want it on there. Oh, put a bug. Can we get QA out here? QA, please. I guess it doesn't look that bad, right? Oh god, it looks awful. Yeah. Alright. CSS not selector. Alright. Actually, we just nest this one way. And not logo. I think this is what it is, and not hashtag logo. Let's see if that does it. I think we got our. There we go. All right, cool. Oh. I was like, that's not working as anticipated, but I think it's because we did that. Alright. I think I found another bug. You see how I can hover right on the edge here? I guess, I don't know if it's a bug. It's probably not ideal. But yeah, let's move on to something else. Alright. Oh yeah, I was gonna make these links. So let's go back to our let's just close others. And let's go to our category component. See where this resources thing? This is basically gonna be how our navigation menu for some of these category pages are gonna be. I want to do a link to the books real quick. Ooh. Let's see here. I wonder if there's... All right. So let's go to... We're going to have to make this resources a little bit more dynamic anyhow, because To be honest with you, I have it in another thing and I'm not rebuilding it, so we're gonna make it a little bit better in a little bit. That might be what we do right now. But let's just make sure that this works. So we can call this what was I gonna do? We're gonna change book list to books. And everything's gonna blow up a little bit. And then book list to books. Cool. No, dog. That's not supposed to work like that. Come on, dog. Don't do me like this. This shouldn't be a big problem, but... By the look at your face, I've never had to. What I'm trying to basically do is jump to a trying to jump to an ID outside a component. I think they might have had it right last time where. It's just one of those small things that I'm like, I guess I've never had to do that. And then you're like, shit, how do I do that? Is that it? Let's see. That might have been it. It didn't redirect me for the first time, so I'm hopeful. Oh my god, no. No! No! It messed up my title service. I think it worked, but it messed up my title service. No! Oh shit. Alright, Alright, so what we're gonna do real quick. Shit. Because I'm not sure if it's actually jumping to it or not. So let's just create a div. We'll give it a style. We'll put h1 in it, nothing crazy, hello. And then in here we'll give it style equal to height, 3000 pixels. All right. All right. All right. All right. So I am a little bit stumped. Let's see how we do this. Let's see if they want a template literal. So if it goes hashtag books. All right. Where are you? App module, router module. Almost. It's a little off though. So I think we almost got it set up. So that's what it was. On reload, it doesn't quite work. Let's see if the blog talks about it. Alright, so... Alright. Scroll offset by, let's just do like 200. Might be offsetting it the wrong way. Well, what I could do is this. Alright, so this was good. So I didn't seem to do shit, none of it. I wonder if it's just that I have too much. My offset's not working. Oh my god, get out of here with the low dash, dude. I think it's good enough, to be honest with you, because I think right now it looks weird because we have a bunch of other stuff that's jumping to it, but on load, so it seems the issue is on load. So like we go here, and we actually click books. It goes right where we want it to go. It's just on a reload. It gets a little weird. I think that might be because of the way that the DOM content's loading. Like, I think that might be part of it. So I'll take a half-baked one versus no baked. And I wonder if it was this that we needed. I think it was. That's a little concerning. Let me jump back to my router module. It looks like it won't jump to the same one twice. Yeah, that might be it. Alright, so that's fine. Alright, cool. So we got that set up. Oh, my goodness. Ugh, but I wonder if there's a way not to add fragments to the URL. Huh. No, I think I just got I have to update my logic a little bit. So, because you can see it gets all jacked up here. Nested routes. I wouldn't really call it nested route in this case. We just have to parse this. Yeah. Okay, so what we have to do now, let's go back to our title service. I might be making title service its own service instead of just calling it an app because it's getting very large. Who knew custom titles could be such a pain in the ass? All right, and then the hash will always be on the last one. So we'll say URL pieces dot URL pieces dot length -1, and here we'll say this is equal to, we'll say const last URL piece equals I'll say last URL piece equals last URL piece dot Alright, so we want to remove that everything from that hash. This is such a bootleg way of doing it. So we want to split. Then we want to turn the first 0 value. And then we want to, yeah, that'll work. Oh my god. Don't judge me for what I just wrote. Even though we're getting the same thing, it's still updating it here accordingly. There we go. Category property split if undefined. Oh. All right. This is so bootleg. That's the most bootleg thing I've written in a while. It works, but let me tell you, I'm not writing home to anybody about it anytime soon. Let's clean that up a little bit. Oh my goodness, that's funny. All right, couple other things. Do. Right, and let's go into here. Ally. All right, let's go back to here. We can get rid of all this now. Now what we need to do, so remember we created our resources. Did I put selector? I'm going to put, I think it's pointer. Okay. So we originally didn't set this up to be super dynamic. We just sort of hard coded it. And what we need to do is make it an input, because we're going to call this public, we'll do this like this, public title, so string, and then we'll have at input, public list. We'll make that a string array. All right. Cool. So here, title. And let's go to category component.html. There we go. And for now, we'll make the assumption that all of our category components will have the same one for this. So for the category pages, we're going to say public resource list. Equal to this. And we'll have books. We'll also have courses. And we'll come back to updating that. Alright, and let's go back to here. So list equal to resource list, right? That's what I called it. Cool. Go back to here. G4 equals list. Let list item of list. Alright, and then all we're going to do for the CSS, we will do a simple text transform. Text transform. And then this will be capitalize. I think that's right. Yep. Cool. Whew. Them lists, baby, them lists. It's looking good though. Alright, so we made this more modular so that we can use this because it's I'm still working on the design, but you guys can see here this is going to be like an array page like we're on. Or we haven't really gone to the array page yet, but so main resources, video, we have this side nav for like promotion, text editor, vertical tabs, breadcrumbs up here. So working on the design still, but we're definitely going to use this again, right? You want your pages, even if they're sort of different, to make sense when you go and do it. All right, cool. Oh man. God. All right. Did my internet just go down? Oh no, this paused. I thought my internet went down because the because of the. I was looking around. I was like, did my commit went through? But my stuff's just been paused. All right, cool. Whew. All right. Man, we did that, man. That was a lot more than I thought that was gonna be. Like, that took a minute. It took a minute to create the title service, and then we had this jumping issue here, which I was completely stunned by. I think that's a good place to stop. So today's been a pretty productive day. I still have to fix those tests, which I'm gonna take a look at probably off stream. But so we took care of some CSS, some minor CSS stuff, right? We also added this books to go over here. So when you jump to books, it's gonna take you to it, right? We added smooth scrolling as well. So we added some items here, but that title service, man, and that thing's still a work in progress. As we add more pages, it's a little bit buggy, so that it's very fragile right now because of all the things we want to do with it. But I think it'll come out nice. Eventually, how I'm gonna have the title be is like a dash in front of it, so it'd be like map dash JavaScript. Boom. But yeah, it's coming together piece by piece. We'll see what my UI UX guy sends me. But that's it for now, guys. If you're interested in my Udemy courses, you can get them for $9.99 in the description below. Use coupon code CodingGod. Check out my 100 algorithm challenge, as well as the 100 front end technical questions to help you prep for those interviews. So as always, guys, I'll see you next time. It's pretty good stream. I'll take about five minutes to answer some questions if anybody has anything. It's been a journey, as it always is. So I've worked probably, because I spent about 2 hours off stream doing some minor tweaks to get this going, and then also building this out, which I'm still not done with. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing because I changed the camera to me. But yeah, so I spent probably about 8 hours today working on this in total. But title, we got title done, and we got jump to things done. And smooth scroll, smooth scroll something. But all right, if you guys don't have any questions, I'll leave you. Thank you for watching, and comment, like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Check out my courses. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.